Today we are going to talk about horses. The scientific name for a horse is Equus ferus. Your narrator today will be Lynn Purnell. Horses are classified in the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Chordata, the class Mammalia, the order Perissodactyla, the family Equidae, the genus Equus, and the species Ferus. Horses are in the phylum Chordata because they are vertebrates. They have a notochord, which is a stiff rod of cartilage that extends along the inside of the body and is the main communication of the nervous system. They have a bilateral body plane and a muscular tail that extends backwards from their anus. Horses are in the class Mammalia because they are air-breathing vertebrates that are characterized by the possession of hair, 3 middle ear bones, and mammary glands functional in mothers with their young. Horses are in the order Perissodactyla because they have an odd number of toes covered by a hoof. Horses are in the genus Equus because they are medium to large mammals with long heads and necks with a mane. They have legs that are slender and end in a single toe protected by a horny hoof. Horses have long, slender tails ending in a tuft or entirely covered in flowing hair. Some common names for horses are a mare, which is an adult female horse over 3 years old. A filly is a young female horse which is under 3 years old. A foal can be either a male or a female offspring. A stallion is an adult male horse over 3 years old. A gelding is an adult male horse that has been castrated, and a colt is a young male horse. There are also names for parent horses. A sire is a male parent, and a dam is a female parent.
Wild horses have 2 social groups. The first is what's called a harem social system. Here, several mares and their foals are guarded by a single dominant male.
Horses are grazers and herbivores. This means that they only eat grass, hay, herbs, and grain. Being grazers, they do not hunt or go looking for food. They simply eat what is put in front of them. Equids are primarily grazers and have dental adaptations for feeding on grasses. Their high-crowned molars with complex ridges allow them to effectively grind grasses with higher fiber content. Though individuals will select the most nutritious and lower fiber forage, they can process higher fiber grasses. Equids also have a single stomach and hindgut fermentation. This allows them to digest and assimilate larger amounts of forage during a 24-hour period. Equids are more effective in assimilating forage and can tolerate and survive on a greater diet in terms of relative forage quality and nutrition. Different species of horses can thrive in different habitats, from below sea level in extreme deserts like the Danakil Desert, to mesic grasslands like the Serengeti Plains, to dry mountain grassland and shrubland.
If you're a wild horse, summer at the Pryor Mountain Wild Horse Reserve on the Montana-Wyoming border is as close to heaven as you're going to find here on Earth. Winters can be harsh, but summer pastures are emerald blankets of eminently edible greenery.
Equids are found in sub-Sahara Africa, the Middle East, Arabia, Central Asia, and Mongolia. Although most of equid evolution occurred in North America, no wild equids are found there today. The radiation of the genus Equus occurred in Eurasia and into Africa. 4 species are found in Africa, and the remaining 3 species occur in the Middle East, Arabia, Central Asia, and Mongolia. The anatomy of a horse consists of many different parts. The poll is immediately behind the ears. In this area there are many nerve endings and acupuncture points. The crest is the upper portion of the neck where the mane grows. The withers is the highest point of the thoracic vertebrae, the point just above the tops of the shoulder blades. The barrel is the main body area of the horse, enclosing the rib cage and the major internal organs. The loin is the area right behind the saddle, going from the last rib of the horse to the croup. The croup is the top line of the horse's hindquarters, and it begins at the hip. The hack is the large joint on the hind leg. The cornet is the ring of soft tissue just above the horny hoof that bends into the skin of the leg. The hoof is the foot of the horse. The hoof wall is the tough outside covering of the hoof that comes into contact with the ground. The stifle is the knee of the horse. The girth is the area right behind the elbow of the horse where the girth of the saddle would go. The chestnut is a callus on the inside of the leg. The fetlock is sometimes called the ankle of a horse, though it is not the same skeletal structure as humans. And the muzzle of a horse is the chin, mouth, and nostrils of a horse's face. Horses are polyestrous. This means that they can have more than one estrus cycle per year. An estrus cycle happens when a female horse goes into heat and she is ready to breed. An estrus cycle lasts anywhere from 19 to 35 days in horses. Horses can breed seasonally and will cycle until conception or until the end of the season. They can reproduce yearly, but there is a lower chance that the foal will survive. Most horses reproduce every other year if nutritional conditions permit. Gestation in horses is 11 to 12 months. If horses live in a temperate zone, breeding begins in the spring. If horses live in a more tropical climate, breeding starts during the rainy season. Fowls reach puberty at 1 to 2 years of age, but do not start to reproduce until they are 3 to 5 years of age. Most wild horses live to be 20 years old, and tamed horses live between 30 and 40 years. There is a breed of horse from Russia called Okol-Tiki. It can go for days without food or water. You measure a horse's height in hands. Each hand equals 4 inches. If you say a horse is 16.2 hands high, the .2 stands for 2 fingers. You can tell how old a horse is by how many teeth it has. A horse gets all of its teeth by the time it is 5 years old. After that, they just get longer. Horses can communicate how they are feeling by facial expressions, and they use their ears, nostrils, and eyes to show their mood.
The other social group is this band of young bachelor stallions, each looking to establish its own harem. The dominant male moves his harem to a safe distance. Then he makes his move on the intruders. Even though he's outnumbered, he's got the advantages of age and experience.
The Equine Research Foundation did a recent study that investigates color vision in horses. Using a pseudo-isochromatic plate test adapted from those used in human color vision testing, we showed that horses are red-green color deficient. This means that although horses have trouble seeing red and green colors, they are capable of seeing other colors. Since Paleolithic times, wild equids have been a source of inspiration to artists on cave walls and canvas. Their beauty and speed have been the personification of independence and freedom. Their domestic relatives have had major significance in the social and agricultural history of man. Less well understood is the significant role of wild equids in the ecology of multiple grazers or browser ecosystems. Wild equids in their native habitats are threatened by hunting for food and medicine, competition with livestock and people for access to water and forage, fragmentation and reduction of habitat, small population size, and interbreeding with domestic horses and donkeys. Data on recently introduced wild equids indicates that with good environmental conditions, they can exhibit a rapid growth rate. But most wild equids either have a stable population or exhibit severe declines due to severe winters and drought. Predation can also impact population growth rates and stability. There is insufficient data as to which age and sex classes are most affected. Predation normally has the most impact on the survival of fowls. Disease can also be a source of major mortality in equid populations. Predation by humans, transmission of disease from domestic livestock, and competition for forage and water are major threats to continued existence of wild equids. Fossil record of the family Equidae begins 55 million years ago in the Eocene with a small dawn horse, Eohippus. The main trends of the evolution of Equidae were an increase in body size, lengthening of the legs, reduction in the number of toes accumulating with a single toe hoof. They also increased height and complexity of crown patterns and cheek teeth, lengthened and deepened of the skull to accommodate the high crowned cheek teeth, and increased the size and complexity of the